Is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at wrestlingwithjohners.com. Hello and welcome to the latest live episode of Wrestling with Johners, episode 364. Got an awesome guest this week, none other than the owner, the founder, the promoter of CXW in Braintree, Essex. Paris, hey, doing great to have you on the show. Nice to see you again, my friend.
I've finally made it. I have made it to the Johners podcast. Yes!
It's my pleasure.
Tomorrow, I'm a happy man. Woo-hoo!
There we go. Absolutely. And likewise, my friend, it's great to have you. Like I say, we met at the last show back end of March. I can't believe it was nearly 2 months ago, getting on for 2 months ago. Time has absolutely flown. What a tremendous show. But we are going to be taking a deep dive over the next hour and 15, however long we go. But of course, we are live as well. We're live across X, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. If I can get my words out, I'm so excited. But if you're watching live at home, thank you very much for tuning in and get in touch with the show. Send us your questions, send us your comments. If you're looking forward to CXW's next show, Bangers and Smash, the 1st of June, isn't it, Paris? And we'll be talking about all of that very, very soon. Get in touch with the show, send us your questions. We'll also be taking the full card that's been announced for Bangers and Smash. So having a look at all the individuals involved, all the storylines that gets us to the Braintree Sports and Health Club on June the 1st. Just 16 days away. And first of all, there's Paris there on the right-hand side of the screen. You may well kind of have seen him under the spotlight at shows recently, or maybe walking around Braintree dressed as the Macho Man himself. That's just his everyday attire. Yes. Boys and girls, that's just his everyday attire. But as I mentioned there, Paris, we're just 16 days. I think it's 16 days away from your next show, the 9th show from CXW. I don't know quite where you are. Are you your promoter's hat on, or maybe just your wrestling fans' hat on? But where's your mind at with just over 2 weeks to go, my friend?
Promoter's hat for sure. Promoter's hat for sure. I don't think the wrestling fan comes into it until after the show, when you're kind of planning the next one. This at the moment is promoter's show, promoter's head. We're in the thick of it now. We're in the proper thick of promoting. We're in the depths of the town. We're knocking doors we've never seen. We're knocking doors that no one else has ever seen, it feels like. And we're seeing people that probably haven't seen anyone for a few weeks. And it's what I love. This is why I do it. And this is why I'm in the business, is to sell what I love and the passion for wrestling. So I'm in the thick of it right now, mate. So promoter's head is on.
Absolutely. You're in the zone. You're ready for June the 1st in just 16 days time. I want to talk about your marketing and your promoting philosophy a little bit later on, because it's not unique to the wrestling business, but it is definitely kind of 100% to the max, full on. You don't do things by half measures, and we're going to be talking about all of that very, very soon. But I want to kind of take you back. I think it was March the 30th, or very, very late March, when you had your last show. Yeah. And the crowd, the venue, it was packed. The Braintree Sports and Health Club. The fans were into every single second of it. The action was hot and heavy. It really was probably, hand on heart, one of the loudest and biggest crowds I've seen on the British wrestling scene since wrestling came back after the pandemic, which we don't talk about. And there's Big Damien doing a massive flying clothesline, but a hell of a show, my friends. Young and old, families, wrestling fans. We had everybody there. I think you told me after the show it was probably around about 530 fans packed into that sports hall. Yes. But exactly how many were there? And the place was rocking, wasn't it? The place was rocking, Paris.
It was, and that's a reflection of the Braintree people and the people we speak to every day, the like-minded people. A lot of these people haven't been to a wrestling show before, and we always say, like, if you come along, it's going to be loud. just let it go, eat the sausage and drink the beer. And I know I go on about it a lot, but we had 543 people there, plus family and friends, and it was very emotional for me. And I know I called it the best night of your life, but actually, I've apologised to my wife because I've got 3 kids and I've been married, and I'm married, but it probably was the best night of my life. And it was, part of it was because my family were there and helped me along the way. But it was electric. It really was. And when we started out, I actually had the opening scene was me, and I had a bit to do with Darwin. And it's the first time I've kind of had to do something that's not just being myself. And I was myself still. I mean, I wasn't no actor, but I was standing in that ring, and to hear the noise and to see Darwin throwing bombs or whatever they call it, pipe bombs at me, I was like, this is a dream. And it's kind of like a drug. It is a drug because, you get out of that show and you kind of want more, but it's exactly how I felt and thought it was going to go. So ever since we started 3 years ago, I felt this snowball and it's rolling. When we first started, it was kind of leading up to a bigger show, but we do want more. We do want more.
And you mentioned it there, and I think you told me after the show, but kind of certainly for the last year, maybe year and a half, the momentum's been growing. The kind of the numbers have been getting bigger, show after show after show. You said the last show in Braintree at the end of March was your biggest show to date, 545 people. I think you just told me there. And I think when you have attendance like that, when you have the buzz and the crowd, the atmosphere that we had, and the wonderful matches, the awesome talent, the stories that were told that night, there's probably no greater feeling, especially when with all the weeks and months and days leading up to the show, it finally pays off in such a spectacular way. As a promoter, it must be thrilling for you.
It is. The thing with British wrestling, I found out. Look, I'm very new to this, and I'm sure you'll ask me. And my inexperience shows, and every show we get better because I get better, and the people that I've got a relationship with in the business have given me a lot of advice and using a lot of that, and we are getting better. And it's kind of the positive. The way this has changed, it is big on the night, but how I feel about what we're doing now is what we're doing to the community is we're actually bringing a bit of positivity, and that's kind of what motivates me now. Like, everyone says to me, how do you do it every day? And it's kind of like, well, I don't do it every day for a start, but it's not just the night that feels positive, it's everything leading up to it. And wrestling is fun. There's no two ways about it. People that don't treat it as fun, I find it quite hard to take, but it is fun. And when you're out in the public, pink is fun, everything's fun, and the night this is what we're trying to bring. And as a promoter, there isn't a better feeling. And unfortunately for my family and everyone around me and British wrestling, I want to be here for, this is what I want to do for life now. And I can't explain when it all comes together how you feel, because 50% of tickets don't sell to the last week. So, you're hashtagging 500, we will get 500, hashtag we will get 500. And we were saying that for 4 months, and to actually achieve it, it's the best thing I've ever achieved business wise, hands down. And I don't say it very often, but I am proud of myself. It was good.
Oh, absolutely. You should be. And you should be proud of the products that you've created and the shows that you've put on. But you spoke about the community aspect and the town of Braintree, and you are out and about kind of promoting heavily. We will kind of break that down. But why do you think it is that you say the last week before a show, you've still got 50% of the seats to sell, and then you not only kind of get up to 500, you max that 545. That's tremendous. But you've got such an incredible product that appeals to all ages, young and old, British wrestling fans, people that have never been to a wrestling show before, youngsters, people in their 60s, 70s. But you have created a product that appeals to the masses, haven't you?
Well, look, if I'm honest, the reason why it almost feels, I don't want to use WWE name, I try to avoid it, but the WrestleMania every time, that's what I feel, because the first 4 or 5 shows, that was going to be it. I did the first show, You know, our very first match, I'd never stepped into a wrestling show since 1999. And fast forward to 2021, and I've just, my first day in the business, other than promoting and selling the tickets and speaking to people on social media about booking them and paying some money, was that day. And it's, I don't know, it we've just come such a long way. I think the promoting side of things is what we're good at, and now we're moving on to each show. We'll get better at the wrestling, and the thing with the wrestling is that is the core of what we're trying to do. And wrestling does sell; it still sells, and we do it for everyone because we're trying to bring a bit of wrestling from all around the world to appeal to someone in the crowd, and it's working. It's working.
And what I loved about your product, what I loved about your show, the last show at the end of March, was the variety of talent, the variety of matches, the variety of styles of matches and gimmicks within that fantastic card. But one thing I really, really enjoyed and I thought put a real kind of classy touch on the show was this guy here. And Anthony Ogogo. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, he may well have been not necessarily a last-minute replacement, but he was a replacement certainly within the last week or so. And he had a tremendous match against Kelly Six. And he was a real pro behind the scenes, great to talk to. A very firm handshake. Gave me an excellent backstage interview after the match. But he was a pro through and through. And when he was in the ring, kind of, you know, it was evident why he's signed to a major company. And him and Kelly Six, they put on a banger, didn't they? But tell us a bit about getting Anthony Ogogo on board.
Yeah. So look, the best thing to do in life is treat people with respect and treat everyone well. And I've got and I'm not. If you treat the wrestlers with respect, you get favours. And RKJ give me a call, and he said, "Look, I've got Anthony here. He's available. I've told him about your event. He's up for coming along. Would you be up for it?" And I actually turned around and said, "I can't. I'm really sorry, but I've got 35 bloody wrestlers, and I'm not sure what to do." And I at night, I couldn't really sleep. I was like, what am I doing? And then that morning, Blue Cane phoned me. And unfortunately, Blue Cane couldn't be Blue Cane anymore. And as soon as that happened, I called RKJ up. And he, by the end of the day, we had Anthony Ogogo along for the ride. He obviously loves sausage. And he really enjoyed it. We swapped numbers. And, you know, he will be back at CXW when he can. Obviously, he's a little bit busy at the moment, but it was great to welcome someone like that. We at CXW, my friends and my family, and all the other wrestlers, we treat everyone how we all want to be treated, and he was treated like everyone else. He got a free sausage, he got a very firm handshake, and we had a good time. And it was great to have someone of his talent. And you know, within a week of him being on AEW and knocking Chris Jericho out, it's great. It's great. And this is what dreams are made of for someone like me who wants to be the best promoter in the world. Yeah. And 3 years in, things like that are happening. So, yeah, it's exciting. And great guy as well. And can't wait to have him back.
Absolutely. And before we kind of talk about the up-and-coming show and various other things I want to talk to you about on this episode of Wrestling with Johners, we've got to talk about another success story, and maybe you can fill us in, give us a bit more information about your agreement, your deal with IWTV, and obviously a streaming platform, international, it's international independent wrestling television, if I'm not mistaken,
yes.
Paris. But now CXW have just come on board with IWTV. I believe that the ink has only just dried on the agreement between yourself and IWTV. What can you tell us about the deal, and when are we likely to see CXW on the streaming platform?
So at the last show, we brought in Mark Ashley Films, and we got the copy of the show, I think it was yesterday or the day before. Prior to that, Big effing Joe, big relationship. You know, he's helped CXW a lot with his advice. He's been there since Super Show 1, and he suggested it. You know, and YouTube for us just hasn't grown as much as I'd like. You know, something we need to improve on has always been our production. I still think we need to improve it a little bit with certain aspects, and you'll see at the next show what we're doing to improve that. And I felt it was the time to kind of try something else, put some new eyes on us. We attack the local community, but I'd love to be able to start getting out to the wrestling world. Our booking is probably very 1993, and it's probably not the usual standard, but we do have everything for everyone. So YouTube hasn't hit off, but I do believe we're now using the core of the talent we're using. We can now run alongside some of these other promotions that have been running for many years and providing hopefully a good show to watch. And I've started watching it, and it's crazy. It's good fun, and I hope that kind of we see that through the camera lens. And on previous shows, I don't know whether we've seen that as much as I'd like, but I'm hoping as we grow and move on and experience using more camera people, using more lighting. It's I can't wait I'm excited for the future with the over 18s and the next show being on there as well. So yeah, exciting news. That is very exciting.
Indeed. And I want to talk to you about your journey as a promoter and kind of the origins of CXW now. And you mentioned that the last wrestling show you went to before CXW was back in, did you say 1999? So about 25 years ago this year. But when you started CXW back in 2021, tell us a little bit about the origins, the thought process, the original conversations, and what was going through your minds to think, hold on a minute, I want to be a wrestling promoter. I want to start my own wrestling company. Those things obviously can't be taken lightly, but how give us the seeds of how that all began.
So, growing up, I was always known as I was the class clown, chubby fat kid, chubby funny kid, sorry. And but I was always known for loving wrestling, using promos, giving people elbow drops and all that sort of stuff. I always wanted to be a wrestler, but I never ever got around the business. I always felt it was, where's the wrestling schools? Where's the British wrestling shows? And this is when I was really young. And I remember seeing in 1999, my mum took me to an event in Wisbech with Marty Jannetty, and Ricky Knight was there. And it just lost contact with me. I watched it on the telly every week. It's always been a constant throughout my life. I probably didn't watch it for 5 years. Then I had kids, started watching it with them. And I was working 100 hours a week in a career selling motorcycles. Things happened at home personally. I wasn't particularly very well, and I just quit. I quit the whole thing, just stopped doing what I was doing, and I wasn't in a good place. And I kept saying to myself, "What makes me happy? What makes me happy? Wrestling." And I kind of made some contact with Facebook, because this was around now, British Wrestling. And I made a couple of messages to people, no one I knew, companies and bits and pieces. And if I'm honest, I'm not going to name names, but I didn't get the response I wanted to. So I sat there and I was like, why not I just do it myself? I don't particularly want to be a wrestler now. I'm too old. I don't like touching people, and I'm not having a shower with the bulk. So I'm not going to be a wrestler. That is not happening. And I kind of sat there and was like, business, I just left this business that I was quite happy doing the job and being selling bits and I love selling. That's what I do. And I thought, well, I love tassels. What creates a buzz? And what got me is being a massive American wrestling fan all my life. I actually couldn't really see a lot of British wrestling around me without searching for it. And I kind of thought, there's a gap here. There's a gap in the market. There's nothing here that's screaming in my face. There's wrestling. And I know wrestling still sells, because I watch it on the telly and there's sold out arenas everywhere. And I spoke to referee Billy Madison. I spoke to Outcast Pro Wrestling, Matt Jackson and Kane Michael. And I kind of found out there was, I was kind of working out, how do I do a show? How do I employ people? What happens? And every time I was asking these questions, hoping someone would make it hard for me to do it, it didn't happen. And it was like, you can book them on the night, subcontract them, you can buy insurance for the night, you can hire a venue, you can hire a ring. And I was like, I can do all that. And you'll laugh, but I thought I was going to sell 1,500 tickets. That was my target. So that's why I'm still disappointed, by the way, because when I thought about this dream, I honestly thought 1,500, that's easy. Knock 10,000 doors, you know, that's easy. And that's how it kind of come about. And I honestly felt like that was kind of what was going to happen. I booked it February. I thought about it, booked it in February, and we had it in September. And it was just selling the tickets a little bit at a time through Colchester, doing a little bit of door knocking. But yeah, the first day to ever actually do anything was September the 11th, 2021. And I really didn't know what we were doing. And that's kind of why it started. Simple as that. It just, within a day, I thought I want to do it. And by the end of the day, CXW was made.
There we go.
Yeah.
And let me ask you, what's been some of the biggest learning curves? Obviously, you're approaching your 9th show, Paris, and say you're three years in now, I understand. But tell us a little bit about some of them learning curves, and what's been some of the biggest learning curves for you in that time over the previous 8 shows.
I've learned. I don't want to get too deep, but I've learned that if you want to do it, just do it. That's something I've learned. Importantly, personally, I've also learned about the wrestling business as a whole, and I'm still learning. I'm very green. Look, I'm even using wrestling words now. Very green. But the biggest learning curve is hard work pays off, which I kind of already know. The more people you speak to, the better. Be consistent. And I mean be consistent. And that's something that's not easy for me, because I'm either very happy, very sad, never in between. And it's yeah. And the wrestling business, what I've learned is I'm still learning. I don't know nothing yet. I'm still learning every day.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and one thing, going through some of the match cards over the last 8 shows, nearly 3 years, is you've had this kind of core of talents, this core of wrestlers that have been there maybe from show 1, but certainly through the bulk of your shows. Certain names like the Johnny Storms of this world, Big Effing Joe, Joey Naylor, the UK Pitbulls, the Knight family, and so many more that have been there from the early days of CXW all the way through to the most recent show in March, and looking ahead to the next show, June the 1st. But I think that without that core, without them regular names that have helped to build the foundations of what we have with CXW now, CXW might be an entirely different product.
The thing with it as well is, like, we keep talking about myself and my promoting and selling tickets. The thing that the wrestlers do is they're making my job easier every show, because they're the ones that are bringing everyone back. And I mean that. Like, that first show, I did not know what I was doing. We hired Outcast Pro Wrestling and their roster. And then I thought it was key that we hired in some experienced guys, and some guys that people would come and see locally that were big names. And like you said, we've had wrestlers from show 1, and it's, without those guys, we wouldn't be at show 9. Johnny Storm, you know, the amount of hours I've bugged him at night asking things. The bulk, you know, the bulk's been massive for me. You know, he's a top man, top pro. I think he's, you know, the UK Pitbulls don't get enough credit. They've been around 25 years, you know, and he knows the business inside and out. And not only that, he you know, helps the young guy. You know, he's just a good bloke. Big Effing Joe as well. And these guys know, you know, I'm green, that they also know I work hard. And that's what they like. You know, they want me to stay in the business, because hopefully I'm giving people a platform, or will give them a platform for years to come. So they're helping me out. And it's, again, being proud is one of them, is for wrestlers like them, you know, that have wrestled all over the world, put their bodies on the line, and they're telling me, you know, that, you know, they're proud of me. And it's brilliant. It's brilliant. And that's why I do it. I've got, you know, big respect for the wrestlers and what they do. I'd never do it.
Yeah. And like I say, they obviously respect you for the hard work, the passion, the dedication, and kind of the miles that you tread in promoting CXW. But we've had a couple of questions come through, and I'm going to bring up this one here from Robert Stewart Evans, Mr. Showbiz himself. First off, well done on such a great product. Where do you get the wonderful titles for shows? And what do you have in mind for future shows? Now, obviously, the previous show, the one that we mentioned, was Be a Sausage Massive. The next one is Bangers and Smash. Obviously, some food-related topics there, titles there. But I mean, Robert Stewart Evans there, obviously, clearly a big fan of some of the titles, some of the headings that you give your shows. Give us some of your where's your head at when you come up with some of these titles, then, Paris?
It's just born out of Let's Have It was probably my favourite one, and then I did Summer Smash It. I made them up in 3 minutes, and it's like, right, okay, move on, and it's just whether it feels right. But Show 10, the name is the best name ever, right? It's the best selling technique, and in all honesty, how the names come along is I've got to think about I'm selling on the street. What's a good catchy name? What looks good on a flyer? And that's where it's all based off. Short, sharp. As we get more serious and as our product grows and as we get into storylines, we'll be thinking about it a little bit more. But at the moment, it's just getting a name that comes to my head and go. But yeah, the next one I'm very, very proud of.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Mr. Showbiz, by the way, he's been to every show on the front row. Never missed a show, so thank you very much. And people like Mr. Showbiz, they're we've got a loyal fan base now. We're 9 shows in, and they're still there, so we're doing something right.
There you go. Thank you, Mr. Showbiz. And we alluded to it earlier. And you're one of these promoters that likes to get out and about, knocking on the doors, treading the streets, speaking to people in the streets. You are a man of the people, a man of the public. Just a few pictures here of you kind of, just about to go door to door. The thousands of doors that you've knocked on over the years to promote CXW, the leaflets. I've got to say, first of all, shout out to the graphic designer, that the leaflets, the artwork, absolutely fantastic. Do you want to give a shout out to the graphic designer? Because I think your match graphics and your graphics have kind of really come on leaps and bounds, and certainly the last couple of shows.
Oi. Don't look. The first 7 shows was me on my iPhone, all right? Honestly, that first show, I had Alex Kent from Outcast. They sent me a promo shot and I needed to delete the background. I've never done it before. It took me 7 hours just to do it. And then I placed it that night and I was really pleased, and it got 2 likes. And I was so happy with myself. So the designing stuff, this is another thing. Without sounding too corny, it's nice to get involved in all aspects of it. I'm going to stick my light on. Bear with me.
Yep. There we go. We can see you now. There we go.
Yeah. And the designing work, I really enjoyed. And I could see myself getting better and better. And I was like, And I look back now and it's absolutely awful. But at the time I was like, I'm really proud of that.
Got to start somewhere.
And I got to a certain point and I couldn't get any better. I was on an iPhone and I spoke to AMLE and Matthew. I used him for photos to begin with. And what a designer, good chap. I'm hoping I can keep him for a long time, and he stays in the business and he's part of CXW because he's just brilliant. It's hassle free and he makes us look good. I tell him what I want and he does it, and it's next level. And it's made, I believe, on Facebook we do a sponsored advert, and we done really well last show, and this show we've done a few, and it's because of the artwork. So I think it's very important to look good.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to be looking at a lot more of his graphics when we go through the match cards. But going back to the leaflets, and there you are at Braintree Town. Well, I've got to say the attire, the Macho Man attire. We showed a picture of you at the top, and there's no kind of better way to get your personality out there than by portraying one of the biggest personalities ever in the history of professional wrestling. We'll talk about that in a minute, but honestly, you are, like I say, dedicated to getting out there, handing out the leaflets, putting them in shop windows, wherever we'll take them, football matches, and even on a rainy Saturday afternoon when there's very few people around. But there you are, and even getting praised for all of your hard work from the Braintree hub there, being out there, mixing with the families, mixing with the public. But obviously, you're a salesman. You know all about sales. You know how to promote. But kind of give us the idea regarding, and you were new to wrestling promotion. You know, this was all brand new to you. So
Yeah.
kind of what made you think, right, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to do it. This is how I'm going to promote CXW and my future shows.
Right. So in 2018, we opened up a new BMW motorcycle shop in Suffolk, and I was kind of in charge of social media. I'd already done another shop, but it was an established shop. We were opening up a whole new business, so I did a bit of door to door. I'd done the Facebook, social media. I organised ride outs, and on the first Sunday, I organised a ride out, and we'd only opened up a week, and we were expecting probably 15 bikes, and 106 motorbikes turned up for this ride out, it ended up not being very good at all. It was 3 miles an hour and the police weren't happy. But I kind of thought, I'm not bad at this. And it's just kind of where we grew the business like that quite quickly. I kind of used those skills, but motorbikes, I know it's a lot of people's passions, but it's kind of, for me, they're just numbers. Wrestling is my passion. And I kind of used getting into the community is key. And because I knew that we were offering a good night out, that was it. I'm not looking to be a millionaire. Well, I'd love to be a millionaire, but I'm asking for 12 quid and I'm going to give you a good night out because wrestling is fun. There's not a lot you can do with your parents and kids and have a good time. And that's kind of where I've got the confidence to do it. And it does backfire sometimes. You do, when I entered the wrestling business, I went on to UKFF forums and started saying, I am going to sell 1,500 tickets and I'm going to do this and that. And that probably wasn't the right thing to do. But you also have to get yourself out there. And I'm learning all the time, but it's key. And I try and, as much as I've not been in the wrestling business, I try and give advice on Facebook to other promotions that might not sell as many tickets. And the key is getting it out there because, like I said earlier, I was an American wrestling fan and I never knew of any British wrestling. So, in my head, it's like, okay, let's put that in people's heads without annoying them too much.
And I think you hit the nail on the head there, because I think, with modern technology, social media, maybe some promotions rely too heavily on social media, and that's fine. But you're mixing social media promotion with actually getting out there, mixing with the public, going to sporting events, knocking on people's doors, posting leaflets through thousands of doors. And that's why you got.
Don't post through people's letterboxes. We don't do that. We're face to face. That's the key. You've got to make that impact. People are not wrestling. You're not going to find 1,000 wrestling fans in 5,000 people. You're not going to find it. So the key is this is what you need to do. You need to make that impact, and that's talking to people, getting out in the community. And even it's like, how are you doing? Do you fancy a wrestle? Or whatever you need to say to make someone laugh. And that's kind of how we do it. And I know it's not easy and it's not for everyone, but social media it's swamped, and you've got, you're trying to sell to your local community first off, so get it out there first. And that's what I believe in. And when we move towns and cities, which we'll eventually do if all goes well, we will be traveling, or I'll be traveling there 4 or 5 times a week, or when I get time. I do other jobs, I work, it's just getting it out there, and that's the key. That's all we need to do. And it's great. It's the best job in the world.
I love your passion. I love your dedication. I love your interaction with the public. And I think, like I say, that face-to-face technique, it obviously works in your case. But I want to talk about a few individuals that are on the CXW roster, very much part of the CXW roster, and that's your champions at the moment. And let's talk about kind of how important they are to the company, and like I say, what the journey they've been on, but more importantly, kind of why they are your champion. Let's start with this guy here, and he is your Xtreme champion, Joey Naylor. And like I say,
bad boy Joey Naylor. I booked him for show 1 because he was the closest wrestler that I spoke to on Facebook, and he lived up the road from Colchester, because I didn't know about British wrestling. I booked him with his mate Ali, Mr. OK, and Super Show 1. They had a match. They absolutely stole the show. I watched it and I was like, wow, they did a suplex on the stage. it was just a great match, great chemistry. Joey unfortunately cut himself and he was at the back. He was blood everywhere. And he was like, thanks for the opportunity. I was like, but you're bleeding. I'm sorry. He was like, I loved it. And he's top pro, top man, reliable, talented. Um, I love it, the fact he's from Essex, but we don't book him because he's only up the road, by the way. We did the first off, I must admit, because I didn't know anyone. But he's one of my favourites, and I shouldn't be saying that, but on stage and off stage.
Yeah, so, and he's a highly respected veteran of the UK scene.
He's just won an award, and I'm gutted. I wish I was there, and I've only known him 3 years, but top, and he should, other promotions should be giving Joey a shout. He'll work in any match. He looks great, knows what he's doing, reliable, and he'll turn up. So Joey,
absolutely,
love it as much as CXW. Yeah, brilliant.
What about these guys here, the UK Pitbulls? You mentioned them earlier on, but been on the scene 25 plus years, I have to say. You could say stalwarts of the UK wrestling scene, your current CXW tag team champions. I hand on heart, saw them for the first time at your last show. Was very impressed, a little bit intimidated, especially backstage, especially when that brawl broke out in front of my interview stage between them and the Beards. My camera didn't know where to look to catch the action as that brawl broke out. But the UK Pitbulls, true legends of the UK scene, and they've been important to you in your journey as a promoter and CXW's journey as well, haven't they?
Yeah, like personally as well. I've been to their big top shows. I was an announcer for them as well. I don't know how I did that, but it's not just about that. But it's their career, the way they look, what they wear. They've not even been pinned in CXW before. Don't think Bulk's even left his feet. No, he has a few times. Had a few bacon trays to his head. Again, the way they put their bodies on the line, but the aura they have when they come out of that curtain, if we're talking on stage, is second to none. And again, I'm proud that we're able to have the UK Pitbulls as our first tag. If this goes a long way, for them to be our first tag team champions is brilliant. Yeah, love it. And top pros, yeah, all round.
Absolutely.
I'll be saying that a lot for these championships.
Oh, 100%, and done a lot for CXW. We'll be talking a bit more about the in their up and coming match very, very soon. And then you got the CXW Women's Champion, Nina, 10 bouts. I think she's up to 10, double digits. But having Nina Samuels, legitimately not just one of the best in the UK or Europe, but one of the best talents, character-wise, performance-wise, all round in the world, in my opinion. And she's representing CXW as your women's champion. You must be really, really thrilled and very proud to have her, not only as part of the roster, but to have her as your women's champion. Like I say, what a great representative for the brand and for that belt.
Like you just said, you said it all yourself, best in the world, and I honestly feel like that. And it's the thing with Nina as well. She's we found it hard to get female talent, if I'm honest, at CXW, and I don't know whether it's because I come across as a weirdo. I'm not. I may look like I'm not, but Nina's also helped me get some of the opponents and for the future as well, and. Not only that, like you said, best in the world, you can't get much better. So, we're trying to get better each show, but we're getting to a point now where the talent in we are using the best of Brit Rest. So you'll see more consistency in CXW's roster. And, Nina is one of those. And yeah, again, I keep saying it, top pro, but yeah, and help CXW, reliable. I can't say a lot else. And
what more can you say?
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, we're a pleasure to have Nina. And you know what I think about that picture? The only logo I can see is CXW. I don't want to say it. Yeah, look at that.
It jumps out, doesn't it?
Genius. BMW,
beautiful championship belt.
BMW Salesman's Training. Thank you very much for all these tips. All right. There you go.
Fantastic. And we have to, unfortunately, we have to talk about your current CXW champion, Leonardo Darwin. And boo, I can hear the boos ringing out now, not just around Braintree, but around Essex, the UK, the world. But I've got to say, my first up close opportunity of seeing him work and working with him backstage, talking to him. He is a character, and I don't know how Leonardo Darwin kind of flew under my radar for so long, but a wonderful talker. He cut a fantastic promo at the beginning of the show, one of the very best promos in the UK, hand on heart. And I've seen a lot of good promos, but that guy can talk and talk really, really well. Not only that, an awesome character, great in the ring. And honestly, I can't think of anyone better to represent CXW as your world champion. But Leonardo Darwin, a hell of a character, a hell of a talent. How did he first come onto your scene, your radar, and then you decided to make him your champion?
So I knew him through Rise. So when I got into the business, after Super Show 1, I kind of got into British wrestling, and I became, when I'm into something, I have to know everything. And I started doing a lot of homework, and he cut so many good promos on Rise. And I think we were 2 or 3 shows in, and it was hard. People started to know who we were, but again, Big Joe, Big Joe and the Bulk suggested, put me over to him, and then I got his number, and again, I think the key thing to wrestling, especially because we're non-wrestling fans, is the characters, and Darwin's probably the biggest character, one of the biggest characters in British wrestling, and I don't know how many people I'll piss off, but he's the best on the mic for me. His promo is, there's different styles of promos, but I think him talking, he did a promo after toe to toe and he won the belt, and I filmed it, and I've got it somewhere on our socials, and that is just fantastic. The long words he uses and how he uses it. A different guy backstage. Again, I spend a lot of time on WhatsApp with him as well. We speak about a lot. Very creative mind. So obviously won the belt at toe to toe. He cashed in on the night. But the way we did it with the Rumble, he didn't touch anyone. And then he won the belt. He didn't touch anyone. And that was his idea. And I absolutely loved it. So he come up with that creative idea of winning the belt without doing one move. And I know everyone's going to be like, oh, but no, I thought it was genius. And the fact,
something different,
people coming up to me going, cool, that was good writing. And obviously I took the credit on the night. I ain't going to tell anyone. But yeah, a good bloke backstage, reliable and top pro. I keep saying it, but that'll be my new motto. Less have it is gone. It's going to be top pro.
Absolutely.
But yeah, champion material. Why isn't he used elsewhere? Because I think he should be used more prominently. Probably because he's a bit over the line sometimes, but that's Leonardo Darwin. But he needs to be around. So British promoters, if anyone's watching this, book him. Message him.
And legit, one of the very best promos, one of the best talkers in the UK business. This is coming from somebody that's seen a lot of great talkers and a lot of great promos over the years, being out and about, but legitimately a great talent. So getting booked. Also want to talk about this guy here. Now, obviously, Ethan Lawrence, my most recent guest, before yourself, Paris, came onto the show last week. We had a wonderful conversation.
Yeah,
really, really great guy. But in CXW, he's got this kind of like bit of persona about him, and he was very, very briefly. I think he said maybe for 1 minute 50 seconds or something like that. He's not quite the kind of shortest reigning champion in CXW history. Very, very near, but he was very clear to make it very clear to the public that he was not the shortest reigning champion. But having somebody of Ethan Lawrence's stature, TV personality, film star, he's been on TV screens all over the world, went to kind of new heights with Afterlife, and obviously star of Bad Education, Horrible Histories, Boat Story, and all that great stuff. But Ethan Lawrence, like I say, that mainstream star that CXW needed just to kind of add a bit of star power, maybe?
Actually, I needed someone to come and knock doors with me, and he was available. But yeah, so I do. I've done a podcast locally called Chew the Fat, which is a real good podcast, real bubbly, great guys. They've been to the show. Chew the Fat UK. You should check them out. It's absolutely fantastic. Not wrestling fans as such, but they knew Ethan because of their line of work, and he was a mad wrestling fan. So we exchanged numbers through them, and we naturally just got on WhatsApping. And he said, "I'll come door knocking with you." And loads of people tell me that, "I'll come door knocking with you." And it's like, "Yeah, all right." And he phoned me up. He come door knocking, and we had a chat. And like, I was like, "What?" So, and you'd want to do something. Yeah, he goes, "Look, I'll help you out. I'll use his words were meagre fame to help CXW." And I said, "Well, I'll make your dreams come true." And the thing is, it's very natural. He's a good guy. He's obviously getting involved in the next show, and we've got some exciting plans. And it's quite surreal when you've got a primetime BBC actor, Netflix actor, and he's telling you you're doing a good job. The last 3 years has been very surreal, I must admit, and that's probably one of the most surreal bits and pieces. But now it's just a mate, good mate, and excited. And I must say that promo he did with you, the promo he did on the show, next level. Just straight away you can see the years of experience, and I'm excited with him being on commentary. It just adds another element to the show. Give away the fame and all what he's been in. His talent will help our shows out. So that's
Absolutely. And I think Paris is frozen slightly there. We are going to be talking about the card, and hopefully Paris will be joining us soon. Are you there, Paris?
I'm there. Can you see me?
Absolutely. We got you back. We lost you for a second there, but like the pro that I am, I covered. So let's talk about the next show. Let's talk about Bangers and Smash. And I'm going to bring up the show poster once again. Shout out to the graphic design, absolutely fantastic. Got big Tim Strange on the cover, and he's a big boy, and had a fantastic coffin match against Damien at the last show. We'll be talking about his match and his involvement in Bangers and Smash very, very soon, June the 1st. But let's kick off by talking about this one here. Furio, a very, very talented performer, who I will be seeing in the flesh for the first time June the 1st against a mystery opponent. Now, of course, I don't want you to give too much away, but I'm not sure if this is going to be Furio's debut for CXW, but tell us what you can about him and what we're likely to see at Bangers and Smash June the 1st, my friend.
Well, British wrestling, there's like a part of the country that's unknown, and there's probably 30 of them that live there, and they're all a bit scary and a bit demony, a bit, they wear face paint, and they have their own locker room and no one goes near them. And Furio's just been picked out from parts unknown. But in all seriousness, Fallen Star Wrestling he's come out of, and I've seen him at a couple of shows in Kings Lynn, and looks great, fantastic performer, and it's the look and the character is what CXW is all about, and he'll be welcomed with open arms. Well, we won't go near him because he's a bit spooky looking.
A little bit, yeah.
Looking forward to it. He's in great shape, and it's about, we want to keep the core of our roster, but if we can get some new debuts in and mix it up, and you've got to remember, I know I keep saying it, I'm very new to the business, and you will see it a lot where we'll bring talent in, and it's good, and looking forward to seeing Furio in action against, I don't know who it is. We don't know who it is.
You'll have to be there to find out.
Yes.
To be there to find out.
Yeah.
And we talk about where you can get tickets from very, very soon. But let's talk about this next match. Now, this match has a specific stipulation, or maybe something on the line, which I'm sure you'll inform our audience of very, very soon. But you've got 6 fantastic talents there, and it is I don't know how you describe it, a 6-person scramble possibly, but Rudy Root versus Sassy Bear Clarence versus Jack Landers versus RJ Singh versus Sunset Skip, and Jim Diehard is the last man to make up that scramble. But tell us a bit about this, how it all came about, and what's on the line to the winner.
The sausage festival, sausage fest, as I call it. So, look, I'm a nice guy, right? And we book a lot of wrestlers, and we had some dates available last year, and it was kind of, I gave out the date a few times, and we're bringing up the card. It was a little bit uneven, and I was kind of like, I don't want 24 matches. So I was like, I'll tell you what, let's just sling them all together. And I did think about it, because if you actually look at each guy, there's a different bit of British wrestling in all of them. Yeah, thank you, bring the image up so I can remember who's in it. But Rudy Root, been there, done that with CXW. been to each show. Isle of Wight, Outcast Pro wrestler trainee, now with Phoenix Pro. Sassy Bear, one of the favourites of CXW. People absolutely love him. He's had I think it's 4 or 5 matches he's been to now, and he's my wife's favourite. He's my sister's favourite. Everyone loves Sassy Bear. Jack
Absolutely.
Landers, do you know what? I met him, and he was not 19 last year, so he must be 20 now. I could not believe it. And I'm not just saying it. In the 3 years I've seen him, because I saw him in an early show to now, wow. And he's got a bright future. So I'm excited to see Jack Landers as well.
A very exciting prospect on the
Have you
UK
seen him
scene.
live?
Had him on the show, and such an extraordinary talent.
Yeah, real mature head, looks good. It won't be long before he won't be picking up my phone call, because he'll be out in America, you know. So yeah, good lad. RJ Singh, do you know, he's so smooth. The only man in the world where he has got the best DDT in the world in this, 2024. Great pro, great technical wrestler. And then we've got obviously Sunset Skip, which is basically CXW in a man, because he's big, bright, loud, colourful, fast, bubbly, funny. Great pro, Sunset Skip, and one of my favourites. He's a big guy. You could get him right out of 1991 and he wouldn't look out of place. So yeah. And then Jim Diehard, I wanted someone a bit different, someone a bit big, and someone from a different part of the country. He's obviously in a tag team as well, so that's something we'll be looking for in the future. And yeah, that's kind of, we're offering a bit of everything, and then the winner will win a 12-month contract with CXW. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn cool. And
Yeah.
like I say, a good mix of talent there, good mix of style, sizes, experience levels, but 6 of the best in that match there. But let's talk about this one here. This is advertised as of Brit Rest, and you've got Kelly Six. We mentioned Kelly Six because he had a match with Anthony Ogogo at the last show. Beer Sausage Massive. And here he is again back at Bangers and Smash June the 1st against Shah Samuels. And Shah had a banger of a match. Speaking of bangers, a banger of a match against Johnny Storm to kick off the last show. So 2 incredible talents there. Now, both with something to prove, because they are unfortunately on the end of losing streaks after the last show, with Kelly losing to Anthony Gogo and Shah losing to Johnny Storm, which he was none too pleased about, as he informed me backstage in our backstage interview. But as you rightly advertised there, the best of Brit Rest, Kelly Six versus Shah Samuels. Tell us about it.
Top tier talent, best of Brit Rest. So I've done a few of these now, and the reason why I put that is where I feel like there's 2 top level athletes that have never really faced off. So I'm trying to do this every show, and it's just that old school, not old school, but that proper wrestling fan match where they'll look forward to it. And that's where best of Brit Rest is. And people like Shah Samuels and Kelly Six will be featuring a lot. 2 different styles, but 2 top level athletes. I'm probably more excited about this match more than anything. I got to say, when you did your promos backstage with them for different reasons, I thought they were absolutely brilliant. I think Shah plays that role absolutely perfectly. No wonder he's been there and done it. And to have someone like him on the show, it's just absolutely fantastic. He looks great. And Kelly Six, I've had him on the show right at the start. We had him and he was absolutely fantastic. Then didn't really see of him for a while. Then he went to Japan, and what got me is the way he put a salesman's pitch on his social media. You're who I want. You want to book me, blah, blah, blah. And I just thought, yeah, I do. So I booked him, and he stole the show with a go-go. And he I think, again, he's an international wrestler already, but I do feel like he can do whatever he wants in wrestling.
He's ready to break out onto the next level, isn't he? He's ready to take his career to the next level. I think his recent tour of Japan has certainly helped him. He's been one of the very best performers in the UK for a long while now. But I think that since coming back from Japan, everything I've seen of him in 2024, he really is next level. He really is next level. And I think the more companies, more promoters need to, take Kelly Six onto their cars, give him a booking, they will be more than pleased. He is legitimately one of the best in the country, and same for Shah Samuels. Let's talk about this guy here and his role. Obviously, one of my recent guests, Ethan Lawrence, we spoke about his involvement with CXW, but we don't know too much about what his involvement would be on the day during the first Bangers and Smash. We know that he's going to be the special guest commentator on one or some of the matches, but it sounds like Ethan Lawrence has got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, and he's got something to prove after, in his words, kind of being rudely pinned, rolled up as now the CXW Xtreme champion. None too pleased at losing his championship in under 2 minutes. But can you kind of give us, a little bit of insight into Ethan Lawrence's role on the day at Bangers and Smash Paris?
Yeah, unfortunately, he helps us sell tickets with his name, but no one really likes him anymore. He's got a huge chip on his shoulder. Hollywood, yeah. Ethan Lawrence. He feels like, obviously, he's taken over Hollywood. Now it's time to take over wrestling, and unfortunately, CXW is his first choice of promotion to come and take over. So he'll be the commentator for at least the first half of the show. So yeah, it'll be exciting to see how he gets on. But I do feel like we'll be hearing Ethan Lawrence talk about Ethan Lawrence.
I get that same feeling. I really do. But there we go. And if you want to learn more about Ethan Lawrence's journey, go and check out episode 363, last week's interview with Ethan Lawrence. Very, very entertaining. We speak about his acting career, his love for professional wrestling, and all that good stuff. Let's talk about this one here. It's going to be for the CXW Xtreme Championship. We spoke about Joey Naylor, the very experienced, highly respected Xtreme champion. And it's a four-way with Little Legs as the special guest referee. One of my favourites, one of my all-time favourites performers in the UK wrestling business, Little Legs. But you got the Outlaw Tim Strange, Joey Naylor, Michael Caden, and Danny Darko. This fantastic fatal four-way for the Xtreme Championship. Now, we've seen in previous shows all the gimmicks, all the toys, all the dangerous toys, thumbtacks, ironing boards, chairs, mops and buckets, you name it. But this one, like I say, it's got that extreme element as well. You've got some extreme wrestlers in there that don't mind getting hurt and hurting other people in the name of extreme. But what are we likely to expect from these four? Especially with the involvement of Little Legs as well.
Look, if you're going to book a wrestling event, you might as well just book it. And that's what we've done here. It's going to be absolutely mental. You've got Danny Darko, an international deathmatch star, along with his mate, Michael Caden. They're best of friends. And guess what they love doing? Beating the hell out of each other. Then you've got Joey Naylor, who sleeps on a bed of thumbtacks. And then we're mixing in with all 6'6", newly deathmatch star, Mr. Tim Strange, undefeated, undeniable. And here we go. And then I thought to myself, well, Billy and Ben have had enough of being hurt with ironing boards and their shoes being ruined with thumbtacks. So I could only call one man, and that was Little Legs. So Little Legs is making his return to CXW, and he'll be back as special guest referee. Keep your eyes peeled. Make sure you buy a ticket because you won't want to miss this.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody better to be the special guest referee, enforcer of such a match than Little Legs. And I'm going to bring up that graphic, and like all previous graphics that are on the screen, you do have the QR codes there in the bottom corners. So get your phones out, scan them QR codes out, take you straight to the site where you can get your ticket or tickets now for Bangers and Smash Saturday, June the 1st from the Braintree Sports and Health Club. Get your tickets today. And we've still got 3 more matches to discuss. Starting with this one here. How about this one for the CXW Tag Team Championships? British versus the Knights versus insert name here versus the aforementioned UK Pitbulls, the current CXW Tag Team Champions. Now, the last time we saw the UK Pitbulls, they had a hell of a match with the Beards. The last time we saw British Top Team, they had a banger of a match, possibly match of the night against the Knights. We've got insert name here. So it's a 4-way for the Tag Team Championships, Paris. And I can't think of 4 better ring together. I know one thing: there's going to be mayhem, there's going to be chaos, they're going to batter the hell out of one another. What are we likely to see there, my friend?
So you insert name here of the current WAW tag team champions. You know, I went and watched Fightmare and they won the titles and it was great. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, they've got to be on a show. Then we've got the Knights, legendary Knights, RKJ, former CXW world champion, and his dad, Roy, legendary Roy Knight. I mean, I went and saw, again, same show, Fightmare, RKJ versus Roy, and that's one of the best matches I've ever seen live. I've not seen many, but it's one of the best matches I've ever seen live. And then, obviously, you've got BTT and CXW Brett Semtex, who actually started wrestling the month before we started. So
wow,
it's quite cool seeing both our journeys. You know, he's gone all over the world and we've been to Southend, but you know, it's great to see Semtex doing what he's doing. He's a great talent. And then obviously you've got Big Lou Nixon again, to see his rise in the last 18 months, 2 years, and to put them all in one match against the UK Pitbulls, who we've already spoke about. I mean, even I want to buy a ticket to this, you know. I'm going to give myself 12 quid because it's going to be, absolutely mental. And we haven't seen a tag team title change yet. So is it the night that the UK Pitbulls finally get pinned and lose the belts?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'm going to call that match. Yet. I'm going to call that match mouth-watering violence. Yes. Mouth-watering violence, because that kind of sums up the 8 talents that are involved. We spoke about Nina Samuels earlier, and what a wonderful champion, what a wonderful representative for CXW and for all the other companies that she's champion of. But she'll be defending her CXW Women's Championship against Sapphire Reed. Now, I've seen a lot of Sapphire Reed. I've seen a lot of Nina Samuels. We spoke about Nina Samuels being, you know, up there with some of the best talent in the world, male or female. And I think you've got to put Sapphire Reed in that same category, one of the best talents in the world, male or female. The last time we saw Nina Samuels in the CXW ring, she was up against Millie McKenzie. Legit one of the best matches of the night, 2 extraordinary talents. And I think you're going to get much the same when you put Nina in there with Sapphire Reed. But I think Sapphire Reed is possibly an unknown quantity to CXW fans. And like I say, she's going to be looking to take the championship off of Nina on June the 1st. But what can you tell us about this match, Paris?
So I got to say, first off, CXW in history, we haven't had enough female talent. It's something that we you know, I want, you know, 2 female matches, and the next show we will want 2 female matches. So we need females. So if anyone's actually watching this, all right, Family Show 10, we need female wrestlers, top tier female wrestlers, and we're lucky to have Nina and Sapphire wrestling because they are top tier. And I've known of Sapphire for a few years, probably about 18 months, when she first started, and we did book her. Unfortunately, she got injured, and this probably 18 months, 2 years ago. But to actually see what's happened in that time just proves what a talent she is, and it's going to be exciting. You know, we go through the card now, and I know I'm a salesman, but it's kind of like, yeah, that's not a bad night, and yeah, I think, you know, this might even be even better than the last women's match, and it was. The last women's match was. It will stand alongside any of the matches we've ever put on. So, yeah, it's exciting. It's for the World Championship. Nina Samuels is undefeated now for the last 4 or 5 events. So, I think CXW want a new women's champion, and Sapphire Reed definitely fits that bill.
100%, 100%. And our main event, and what a main event it is, the CXW Championship, another match. 3 top talents there. You can see Saxon Huxley on the left doing some amazing things over in Noah. Back over on UK shores, Leonardo Darwin, our champion, CXW's champion, and Johnny Storm, who said to me in the backstage promo after the last show, CXW management, what's going on? He deserves his shot. He's finally got his shot. It's a 3-way ladder match for the CXW Championship. We've spoken already about 6 or 7 terrific matches that's going to take place on June the 1st, Bangers and Smash. But there we go. That is the main event. And those 3 talents, the stipulation, what's at stake, that deserves to be the main event. I can't think of anything better. Tell us about that and the talent involved, what we are likely to see.
So coming off a massive, and talking on my real head on, we had to kind of beat it you know, and I found it really hard because we were scrambling around thinking, what can we do? And some of the core talent that we normally use were already booked because we had shorter time. And I managed to get hold of Saxon Huxley, who I knew from Noah and seeing stuff in Japan last year. And we managed to, someone put us in touch with him, and when we signed him, it was fantastic. And then to have Johnny Storm come into the match as well, the reason why it's the main event is because we needed to beat Massive Card, and it was very hard. So we've got two of the best versus the best at CXW in a ladder match for the very first time. It's a proper ladder, you know. It's not, you know, it's a proper ladder match. Yeah, look, we've got to make memories, and we're trying to make our name for ourselves. We were trying to make an impact. We're trying to force our way into people's living rooms, if you like. And how you do that is just trying to get the best talent you can, put them in a crazy match, and then hope for the best. And all we need to do at CXW is sell the tickets, and more eyes the better. And can't wait. It's going to be the best night of our lives again.
Yeah, and what I love about this match here is you've got three extraordinary talents, but three contrasting styles as well, with Saxon Huxley, the experienced, world-travelled brawler. And like I say, he's going to bring a different element to the game, especially with the ladders involved. Johnny Storm with his high-flying, acrobatic style, but experienced pro wrestler who can do pretty much anything in the ring. And Leonardo Darwin, well, we'll have to see what he brings to the table, what he brings to, not the table, but the ladders. I'm sure being the dastardly, cunning, wily heel that he is, he'll have a few tricks up his sleeve. We'll have to see. But let's just quickly whiz through the matches one more time. We've got Furio against a mystery opponent. That's going to be fantastic, with Furio making his CXW debut. These six extraordinary talents with a contract on the line. That's going to take place on June the 1st. Kelly Six versus Shah Samuels, best of Brit Rest, two of the very best in the UK, Europe, the world will be going head to head from the Braintree Sports and Health Club. Ethan Lawrence will be on commentary, and what's involved, what will he actually be saying about what's going on, the action, and possibly about himself behind the desk. And then, of course, you've got Little Legs officiating, or doing his best to officiate. Those four: Tim Strange, Joey Naylor, Michael Caden, Danny Darko for the Extreme Championship. Got four of the very best tag teams in the UK going up against, taking on the Pitbulls, defending their championships against BTT, the Knights, and insert name here. Nina Samuels will be defending her championship against Sapphire Reed, and that tremendous triple threat match. Saxon Huxley, Johnny Storm, they're both trying to dethrone Leonardo Darwin, the current champions. So there we go. And I'm going to bring up that graphic one more time because the barcodes are there, the QR codes are there. Scan them now. Get your phones out, scan them, get your tickets today, and you'll be part of that 500 plus strong in attendance at the Braintree Sports and Health Club June the 1st. But we'll kind of hype up. We'll talk more about that show a bit later on. But that is a mouth-watering card, my friend. So first of all, congratulations on putting that card together. And in 16 days, we'll see it all unfold.
Yeah, I mean, you're out of breath just telling that card, you know. So yeah, we're in for a long night, but we don't do it any different way in CXW. We go for the long haul. So yeah, come on, we need you. CXWrestling.com. It's time.
That's where you got to go. Something else I know you're very, very excited about and very proud of is you've got a training school tied with CXW, associated with CXW. I'd love you to tell us a bit more about this here. And it's a certified professional wrestling training school. And I'll say a little bit of a flyer or a poster as far as some of the sessions, some of the prices, some of the nights of the week, where you can go down and learn to become a professional wrestler. But tell us a little bit about Certified, because I know this is something you're very, very proud of, very, very excited about. How did it all come about?
It was the fans' fault. I blame the fans. So after every show, we had a lot of mums coming up to us saying, "Do you do the school?" And it's like, no. And it's kind of, I was speaking to a few people, and it's like, oh, I'd love for wrestling to be a full-time job. And it was kind of like, how do you make money out of wrestling other than putting on shows every week? And it was like, we'll do the training. I started speaking to a few wrestlers. So obviously we've got Ali on board. We've got Johnny coming at a later date when we've got some more students and we've kind of got things going. And I'm really pleased with the start. We're 7 weeks in. We've got 15 committed adults, 8 committed juniors, plus a few more that come now and again. And we've got new people, hopefully, we're coming once we start pushing it locally. So we haven't done yet. And the reason why we haven't done it yet is we haven't had a wrestling ring, and we're very mat based. And what we've done is we've come up with 10 modules, which are certificated every module. And it's basically the whole journey of being a professional wrestler, from the arm drag to 30-minute Ironman promo matches, whatever you want to do. And we're trying to put everyone through the same modules to kind of get a well-rounded person afterwards. We're trying to also improve people's mental health, physical health, create a team. But the reason why it's not CXW training is because we almost want to create CPW from the ground up, using these original athletes and new people that join along. And so next year we've got a small venue in Braintree, and we'll once people are ready and safe enough, we'll do junior shows or CPW shows, and eventually you'll almost get in like the CPW versus CXW, and that's kind of where the thinking is. We'll see. We're a long way to go. We're keeping things very simple, and the key thing is we've got to keep 20 plus students coming every week. That's my job. Ali started. He's doing a fantastic job. Really pleased with Ali. He's been in the game since '06. He actually retired on my show, which again is probably one of the biggest things for me, for someone to say, I'd like to retire at your show. I was kind of like, wow. And we didn't know nothing about the training score at that time. It's just naturally happened. I like Ali. He's a good man, good bloke. And it's, yeah, I'm really pleased with the start. So much so, we went out and bought a wrestling ring frame. It's going to take a bit of time and effort, but we're doing it up as we speak. And eventually, going into next year, we'll be using it as our full-time show ring. And we'll obviously be using it as a training school ring, and kind of making CPW something else from local grown talent that we've grown. So yeah, exciting. And to think that, you know, if we create someone that then kind of gets onto the scene, that's a special feeling. And I'll tell you what, we've got a couple of lads there that are good, and we've got a couple of youngsters. I mean, there's a particular guy that's very young and really impressed. So yeah, I'm not saying anything's going to happen, but very exciting start, and yeah, can't wait. It floats my boat, if you like, and I hope that we can make CPW better than CXW, because the key to this is we want to keep CXW separate. We want to keep it as our WrestleMania, sorry, WWE, but our premium live events, if you like. And I want to be in with the top tier British talent, because I'd love to do that for a living and work with those sorts of people. But on the other hand, we want to create opportunity for local talent, you know, and that's kind of where we're going with it. And I kind of imagine, you know, in 10 years, it's CPW versus CXW, and we're taking over the world against each other. But yeah,
Absolutely.
Let's see how we get on.
There we go. And I want to skip back to CXW, and obviously we're gearing up for show number 9. You started in September 2021. You've got 8 shows under your belt, so to speak. But what have been some of the highlights for you as, like I say, a wrestling fan / promoter? What's been some of the biggest highlights for you, whether it be kind of you know, from a promoter standpoint or from a wrestling fan standpoint? You know, what are some of the things that's really kind of excited you about some of your previous shows?
Just, I don't really, it's as a wrestling fan, I don't think I'm satisfied yet, because in terms of the finished product, and I don't mean that, I just feel like we've got lots to do in production, and it's something. But as a promoter, I'm proud. The most thing I'm excited about is I've got wrestlers that want us as a platform or use us as a platform. As a fan, I suppose it's being able to see British wrestlers that wouldn't normally go against each other. but as a fan watching it and bits and pieces, I don't know. It's very odd. It's all very odd because I think because I'm an American wrestling fan in British wrestling, I'm kind of just proud of just being in the business as a all. And it's just as a fan, it's just trying to create memories. But when
Yeah.
on show night, unfortunately, I'm not really watching it that much, if I'm honest. So when I'm there, you got doing it as a fan. It's kind of gone past that. It's very odd. I don't know. I think the first
Yeah.
night having a Royal Rumble was probably the best. As a fan, was probably the best thing, because then after that, it's now taking it seriously to a point where, I'd love to do this for a living, and I'm now past it as a promoter. My proudest thing is just having wrestlers contact me that are people that are top level, saying, "Can I come and work for you or with you?" And that's the proudest thing. As a fan, we're not there yet. I think there's a lot of stuff we need to be doing, and then maybe I can sit back and watch it and be like, yeah. But at the moment, it's just being able to provide a platform consistently.
Absolutely. And we've all seen CXW grow as a product over the last 3-4 years, from its first show to its 9th show, as we kind of ran through earlier. But the product has grown an awful lot. How do you see CXW growing even further, say before the end of 2024, maybe into 2025, a year from now? How would you like to see CXW in 12 months' time?
New city. I want to see 1,000 people. Whether we can do that in a year, it depends. I want, if we can get a close enough city to Braintree, maybe. But for me, as a promoter, the wrestling side, I'm learning all the time, and wrestling's my passion. But as my goals are, is just to sell out, make the attendances bigger. That's what, I'm a salesman, and I want the sales. So, do I see us getting 1,000 next year? Not yet. I haven't got a venue where I want to go. There's a few places where I've been contacted this week. So I want us to be at 1,000 people in attendance. Maybe end of 2025 would be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing that struck me, and I know this is not uncommon at wrestling shows by any stretch of the imagination, but the extraordinary merch that you were selling. I'm going to bring up some pictures here. And like I say, the wonderful T-shirts from the talent, the fantastic CXW branding and merch as well. And one thing that I love about the T-shirts, the logo is fantastic. Really, really jumps off every bit of merchandise, whether it's the caps, the hats, the T-shirts, or the Rudy Root T-shirts there, I noticed. But the branding is fantastic. The colours are very vibrant. That just makes you want to have one of them T-shirts. And I know you're all about the bright colours, hence the Macho Man costumes and the pink ring skirts and all the wonderful vibrant colours as we saw in that photo there. But the branding and the merchandise is very exciting, and it makes you want to buy them.
The main thing for me is just standing out, and a lot of this merch is actually just born out of my work uniform and then selling it, like thinking of something what I could wear to sell and then putting it out. And it's just trying. I know it's not everyone's done it before. I had a pink T-shirt, but it's just trying to be instantly recognisable as CXW. And I know in British wrestling people say the brand doesn't matter. Wrestling is wrestling, but it should matter, especially if you want a future in this game. And I pink is my favourite colour, but it's more the reason why we're seeing these bright colours is just being instantly recognisable. The Macho Man outfit is so people see you from a mile away. And although I get called the Tiger King a few times, the 100% of wrestling fans know who I am, and people come up to you and look how wonderful and talented I almost look. But in all seriousness, I do make myself laugh because I see my old schoolmates I haven't seen for 10-20 years. And they're like, Paris, is that you? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, and I used to do elbow drops on them, and they're like, you're living your dream. And we're having a serious conversation. And the saddest part of it is they all think I'm a wrestler, and I'm not. I've got to tell them I'm not a wrestler.
Absolutely fantastic. Let's go over the match cards one more time for June the 1st. Bangers and Smash from the Braintree Sports and Health Club, and just look at these graphics. not only are they wonderful graphics, but the lineup, the talent involved, the matches, and what you are likely to see. And I'm going to get rid of the kind of the scrolling caption at the bottom there, so you can see the barcode as well. Get your phones out, scan the QR code. You not only see the very best of British wrestling, but hey, Little Legs officiating an Extreme match. It doesn't get any better than that. And yeah, mouth-watering violence there for the 4 teams involved in the tag title match. Nina Samuels versus Sapphire Reed, and then that triple threat match, which, as I say, is worth the price of admission. But if you're a salesman, you're a born salesman, if you got any final words as to why we should be getting our tickets for that extraordinary card, Bangers of Smash, June the 1st, tell us now.
What can you do for 12 quid? 4 meal deals, not even 4 meal deals. For 12 quid, you can have the best night of your life. We've got the beer, we've got the sausage, and we've got the best of Brit Rest. We're loud, we're proud, we're packed, we're friendly. We've got everything you need, all under one roof, all under one night. And everyone can come. Your strange uncle, your nan, your boyfriend, your daughter, not your dog. Don't bring your dog. But just come along, give us a chance. You know, we're here on a wrestling podcast to get to you, the wrestling fan. All right. I don't care what you say. You want to come and see that 6 sausage fest scramble match. I know it goes against everything else in professional wrestling today, but we pack the ring, we pack the fun, and you will lose your voice. And you've got no choice. I should be a poet, but I don't know what else to say after that. But come along, best night of your life. And do you know what amazes me? And I'm going off the pitch now, but we've got people from Devon, we've got people from Southampton, we've got people from Northern Ireland, and they're wrestling fans that come to see our show, and a lot of them have come back again. So we need you to carry this on. And if you want and like British wrestling, then give us a chance. So yeah, I'm going to beg you now, get the violin, not the violin, but we're kind of proving
the drums out. There
Best
we go.
night of CXWrestling.com.
There we go. That's where you got to go, or scan the barcodes from the graphics that have been flashing up on screen. But CXWrestling.com, all the details, all the socials are running along the bottom of the screen. Go and check out CXW's Twitter, Instagram, all websites where you can get merch and tickets to Bangers and Smash. But CXW Paris, I want to thank you so much for being an awesome guest. Episode 364. Can't wait till June the 1st, Bangers and Smash. But as for this evening, thank you so much for your time, my friend.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you very much. I have definitely made it. I feel part of the wrestling business now. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks, Jonas.
We will indeed. Take care, Paris.
Cheers, mate.